had a thought, what would you do with your life? How would it change your current situation? If what you wanted to do, you knew you couldn't fail at it. What would you do? What would you try to achieve? What would you shoot for if you knew you couldn't fail at it? That thought right there. That's what I like to call your wildest dream. You can have it. You can have it. I'm going for wild right now. Who's with me? Who's with me? The Wright brothers. Do you know how impossible it seemed when they was trying to come up with an airplane? That seemed impossible, man. That seems like no way. That's laughable. That's preposterous to even go there. You know how many failed attempts they probably had? Do you know how many times people probably was laughing at them? Looking at birds, thinking that they can do what a bird was doing? Look what we got now, though. We got hunks of metal. Big old tons of heaps of iron and metal just flying and defying gravity. You got to have some audacity to think that you can do that. To even pursue that and not give up after you fail 1,000 times, 10,000 times after you fail. You can do it. That thought that you had when I asked you, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? That's your wildest dream. And that thought that you have when you didn't consider what I said when I asked you about your wildest dream. That's the other thought that's keeping you from doing it. Before I told you, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? The opposite thought is what's keeping you from it. Does that make sense? I guess I'll say it like this. Stop considering then what you would do if you knew you couldn't fail. That makes sense? Before I asked you, how did you feel about that thing that you thought of? There you go. Before I asked you, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? How did you feel about that thing that you thought of in your mind before that? Why aren't you seeking it? Why aren't you pursuing it? Upgrading off some power when you can goddamn do it. Yeah, you heard me. You can goddamn do it. I see you there at the top. Who's with me?